Hi, welcome back. I'm Gigi. Chronic illness, chronic pain, hospitalisation, this is what I do. I wanted to just show you the pitfall of long-term hospital stays. But you need to adjust to it and not be afraid of it. So here we go. See how I'm red? That is from a certain product going in. You have a reaction sometimes. This, you need to report to your nurse. But for me, it seems to be my normal these days because you have so many veins. You get what's called cannulation, I think you'd say it. And they've tried so many times throughout this day. That was my most recent cannula right there. Prior to that, that was it there. And now this is the current one. But actually underneath it, there's one right next to it that they were using. And yeah, this is all in a 9-day stay. I come into this hospital and I stay anywhere from 8 to, 19 days has been my longest stint. Last year I spent 12 weeks in hospital, obviously not all at once, 3 weeks here, 2 weeks there, 10 days here, 8 days there, 14 days here. And what happens is, and I'm sure you can all relate, once you have particular painful, serious, radical trauma, which was my case, as combined with degenerative diseases, you end up they're constantly trying to handle the symptoms and then not being able to treat the underlying cause. So what I did was I agreed that don't worry about treating the symptoms because I'm in pain all the time. I'll let you know when my symptoms are uncomfortable. So see that coordination, what is it called? Oh my God, it's on my phone. Conversation, freely, openly speaking. Some of my symptoms are really embarrassing. And I didn't talk about them for years because I was so embarrassed. It's like, how can this be happening to me? I'm 39, 40, 41. I'm so young. Prior to that, when my first traumatic surgery happened and I had an injury from that affects me greatly to this day, 19 years later. I didn't talk about it for 10 years because you're told that this is the norm. And what that injury was, just to give you context, was my bladder was injured when I had to have an emergency cesarean with my eldest daughter. I went into labour at 27 weeks with her. Due to all of my abdominal adhesions from having previously had 12 laparoscopies and D's and C's for endometriosis and ovarian cysts and adenomyosis, there was nowhere for her to grow. So my body went into labour and did it 7 times over the space of 3 weeks. Then finally, on the 7th time, I was in labour for 36 hours and I just said, stop, please stop. Like, I can't do this anymore. My baby wants to come out and you need to do this. That's a whole other story which I'll share another time. But please let me know your thoughts because we need to be open. It is embarrassing. But at the end of the day, this is your human body. It's the only body you have. And for me, I was always told I was a hypochondriac, I was oversensitive. But it wasn't that. It was, I wasn't. but in the 80s and the 90s and the early noughties, you were meant to be one and done with procedures, and surgery was the go-to solution for everything, as well as drugs. I mean, I remember getting my first little brown bottle of pethidine tablets in my late teens to manage my pain. That has had a massive roll-on effect. So trauma PTSD literally is a very real thing that manifests physically. Speak to your doctors. Speak to more doctors. Don't go to Dr. Google. Do not research stuff through Google. Ask your doctor, or find some Facebook groups or some online forums with people who have similar problems as you, or conditions, or difficulties. Or I used to say, oh, my body is very quirky, I have my own quirks. Because how else was I going to describe my suffering without actually describing my suffering? Because I didn't want to be seen as a victim. And I already had things going on with my life that meant that I was being perceived as a victim. Here, look. It's now, as it's travelling down my arm, I get redness. Now, a lot of you out there will be going, oh my gosh, especially if you're a medical professional, or if you've dealt with a lot of medical professionals, and you've been in lots of these situations like me. This is not something I recommend anybody ignore. I say call for help immediately. But I know what I need, and listen to your body. Listening to your body is so important. Listening to my body, this is not problematic. The pain is very mild, and when I say mild, I mean it's literally like 10 times less painful than shutting a drawer on your finger. Surprisingly, I do a lot because I keep forgetting to put these on, because these are relatively new. So please send me some messages about what it is. Can you relate? What part of what I've just said resonates with you, or you have issues with, or that you know somebody? Forward my video onto them, please. I am Australian. I'm talking about how we treat with these symptoms here in Australia. But I'm going to be going through so many confronting issues. This is not for everybody, but it is for people who are sick and tired of being told it's in your head, or it's an addiction because we're needing pain medication, or you're not strong enough. Pain is very relative to each person and your experience. I know that the physical pain, my pain tolerance from 20 years ago was already very high compared to a lot of people because A, I grew up at clubs. B, I was very proactive with older siblings I wanted to keep up with. I was skateboarding, horse riding, falling off horses a lot. BMXing back in the 80s, falling off my BMX a lot. I was dancing, pushing through the physical pain. I loved swimming. I loved running. I had grommets constantly. I had Ross River fever, which had me miss almost an entire year of school before I'd even hit double digits. My pain tolerance is really high. But 10 years ago, when I was told, this level of pain you're going to be living in forever, my mind fractured. Because I thought I knew pain, and the level of pain I was enduring. Oh, I'm going to cry. It was a lot. I am getting better at it. These videos are sporadic because, and you'll find that there won't be a set order until I have someone come on board to help me, which in itself would be a huge process. But how can I put this? Not only can I manage my pain, tolerate my pain, I can manage a lot of the ramifications of being constantly in pain. There was a period with my kids when they were young, my tolerance for them misbehaving was zero. But luckily, because I was so blessed to have them and they were such miracles to me, those first formative years, I was just so grateful to have them. I just focused on, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky. Look, see, redness is going down while we're talking. In fact, it's moving a little bit. It's moving around the arm. But it's still going down and I can move it. I will figure out a format to this because I have done a number of things anonymously. All of those have been great successes. Not all of them. Sorry. A few of those have been great successes. A lot of them have just fallen flat on their face. And that's life. You only need a few great successes. But you need to keep trying. So be patient with your friends who aren't well, your family that's not well. Be kind to yourself if you're not well. Stop setting yourself such immense goals, lofty goals. My biggest thing I have always said, and I get in trouble for, I used to be able to do this. This was so easy for me. What? And I would cry and get frustrated. That would make my pain worse. I'd go into a downward spiral. I had to learn coping skills and coping mechanisms. I checked myself in to a psychiatric ward to actually learn some CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, around coping with my trauma, with my unspoken fears, with facing my realities. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I was told to get my affairs in order a number of times. Now, if you don't know what that saying means, look it up. Not a fun topic, especially when you're single mum with two small kids, two beautiful, angelic, miracle babies whom I love and adore and want to, with all my heart, to be there for them. So I'm going to sign off for now. I've been in hospital this day for 9 days. I'd hoped to go home today, but I've had some complications from just my other complications. I'm just one big complicated mess. And when you have chronic illness, where you have multiple things stacking up, that's what happens. I will hopefully be out in another 24 to 48 hours max, but I don't want to rush home because I've learnt that one the hard way. And for a lot of my spoonies out there, or my chronic pain, fellow nerve pain patients, fibromyalgia, CRPS, people with immune disorders, lupus, Ross River fever, dengue fever, you all know. You have to go at your own pace. You have to be gentle with yourself. So be gentle. Don't judge. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Please, I beg you. that's it for now. I don't think I'll post again until I get out. I have hours, like thousands of hours of footage that I've been recording over the last 10 years. I have truckloads of journals, and I have people who I'm slowly building a team around myself. If you want to volunteer and help, if you are also a pain patient or sufferer, or you're stuck at home with your computer or in hospital with a computer and you're nifty with a computer, reach out. Let's just build something. I'm building a Facebook group. It's going to be called Living with Chronic Pain. I will post the link and I'll attach it to all of my videos once it's completely built. I'm building a website, gg3believes.com.au. That's also under construction. And I'm on Instagram, gg3believes. DM me, PM me, join the Facebook or look it up once it's actually live, and be kind, accept. You can only do what you can do. You can only control what you can control. And if you lose friends along the way, you lose them. Peace out.